Hello, I'm Ann Costa. I'm the co-founder of Revive Hope and Healing Ministries. We are a Catholic apostolate and association of Christian faithful dedicated to mobilizing a Catholic response to human suffering, trying to draw all people to the heart of the Father, one blessed soul at a time. It has been a very long time since I have felt the need to speak this way publicly. In fact, the last time I did, my hair was not gray. It was during COVID that I did a lot of things online. These days, I've been mostly interested in hearing what other people have to say and showcasing and highlighting what they are doing to alleviate human suffering, and especially from a Catholic approach, because we believe that the treasury of the Catholic Church holds everything that we need to live flourishing lives of goodness and joy. And the events that have been going on in the last month have just, I think they've really stunned us all. I mean, it has been a wake-up call, I think, even for those of us who have been working diligently and on the front lines of the suffering that people endure. This has been way over the top. And there is something that I would like to say that I haven't heard too many people say. And it's something that is really foundational to why Revive was started and why we're so committed to continuing the work that we believe God is asking us to do. And that is that there is something very, very broken and wrong with our mental health system. Okay. Now, I feel like I'm in a unique place to be able to say that because I just finished working 40 years in the human service field as a social worker, a licensed professional in the field of helping people. And I also spent 30 years as a client, as someone who received counseling to help overcome the trauma of what happened to me in my childhood and to undo the damage that I did and trying to cope with that, right? So that's a lot of years of being exposed to and involved in just the intricacies of what happens when people are suffering and they need help and how we do that. I was also hospitalized for a significant event that happened almost 20 years ago now. So I run the gamut of understanding what it is and what the constraints are to try and help people. And also, what people need when they are hurting. So I've dedicated pretty much every minute of my life since I became well and since I was healed. And no, healing never stops, but it keeps just exponentially freeing you, when you embrace the healing that is there for you. And the problem is that the system that I got help in is very different than the system there is today that is set up. It is much like many of the institutions in our world right now that are really in the clutches of the demonic. Now, you're going to say that's hyperbole, but you have to understand that this is a battle. I think we see it so clearly now of good and evil, the powers and principalities. And the systems and institutions that were foundational to our cultures and to our world, the worldview of Christianity and Judeo-Christian ethics, has systematically been attacked and torn down, weakened to its core. And in that vacuum, evil has stepped in. And we've lost the truth. We've lost our way. And we have to take a look at this. We have to be willing to understand that there are just no quick fixes, right? There's no super strategies or uh, shortcuts. There's no super duper method of helping broken people heal. We can come up with all the methods and theories and everything else, and it's just not going to be enough because what I experienced was a one-on-one dialogue that lasted 30 years with a professionally trained individual who deeply cared for me and didn't have the constraints of billable hours, didn't have the constraints of instantaneous results. He didn't see me as a fixable machine. Um, and he had no pressure to go along with an ideologies that were doing much more harm than they could ever do good for people. So while I am deeply disturbed by the condition of our mental health field and really do believe that there are many things happening that are destroying people's souls, is certainly not keeping them alive. The track record sucks, quite frankly. Okay. But in the same breath, I can say I would not be sitting here if it weren't for people working in traditional mental health who still had their hearts intact, who still were connected to their souls, and were working in a system that wasn't going to try to steal it from them. The clinicians that I meet these days, they don't have that luxury. They do not have that luxury. They just have to keep churning it out, spitting out whatever the ideology of the day is, typically without any kind of understanding of how human beings work or were created by God. A deeply disconnected and incoherent vision of what truth is. We can't have personal truths. It's an absolute impossibility. We can't own truth. There is truth. Truth is a person. We can't afford to keep medicalizing our problems. We can't afford to keep dehumanizing people who are struggling. We can't afford to keep letting destructive ideas drive us to do actions that do harm to people, not just the people we're trying to help, right? But to us too. I've actually talked to people, helpers, and I'm talking to you mostly right now, helpers, who are really just dying on the vine. They are in over their heads. They are going under themselves because they have no anchor, no foundation of understanding of who they even are. We've got to stop lying. We've got to stop letting the evil take over our minds and scramble our brains. We can't help people by fragmenting them and separating their bodies from their souls, pretending they don't have one or the other, that it doesn't matter. that their physical reality or their spiritual reality doesn't matter. It's not going to help. It's doing so much harm. There's an alternative, there really, really is. There's the truth of the human person that we understand, that God presented and that Jesus embodied, that people like Charlie Kirk and Matt Walsh, Billy Graham, that people like maybe Mahatma Gandhi, even Mother Teresa, that they spoke about. It's the truth that comes from God, the God who loves us, who created us, that we know um, is real. And we will never hope to help people if we don't get morally coherent, that we don't anchor ourselves in the truth. Now, I'm Catholic, so you know what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say it without shame or embarrassment or without a caveat or qualifier. Right? I truly believe that the Catholic Church offers everything that a human being needs to live in this broken world, to flourish in it, to thrive in the truth, to know peace and the power of sacramental living. I believe that. I'm living it. I'm alive because of it. I would never trade the help that I got through traditional mental health. They helped me a lot. But the Catholic Church healed me. Jesus Christ healed me. And if we don't start looking at people and loving people and listening to people and reaching out to them and walking with them and staying patient with them year after year as they tell their stories and find their way like Jesus did and does. If we don't do that, we're going to lose so many souls. We're going to have missed that opportunity. We can do it differently, right? We can. We have to. It's not going to work this way. The devil is a coward. The forces of evil are stupid. They got nothing on Jesus, okay? They've got nothing on his message and his presence and his power and his completeness. They will always run away in the face of truth. Love will always win, but we have to follow it. We have to live it. And that includes when we're trying to help people, when we're working in systems that don't want to hear it, that want to silence that for the bottom line. I implore you, if you are a worker in the human service field, if you are a doctor or a counselor, a therapist, a paraprofessional, if you are a direct service worker, if you are an orderly in a hospital, if you are a nurse, if you are someone who wants to help other people, right? That you follow Jesus's lead in that you see the person as a soul, an eternal soul who was created by a loving God who knows how to heal and make people whole. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what God has in store, but I know He's got something. I feel a tide turning. I do feel a turning point. That's why I'm talking on here. I'm old. I mean, my time has passed. Really, it has. But I'll tell you what, God can use anybody. Doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter. God can use anybody, just like Erica Kirk said. But you got to submit to Him. You got to put Him first. You've got to let Him lead this. And it's going to be hard because people are living on lies. They're being fed lies. It's like intravenous lies. These systems that are supposed to help them are feeding them lies about themselves. And we see the consequences of that. And we have to speak up. We have to stop it. We have to know what we know and the depth of our being, what we've been given by God, and we have to share it. We have to offer it as a sacrifice. We have to give everything, just like Jesus did, to save each other and save ourselves. Thank you. God bless you. We can do this. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us.